Kate?
Also this morning, a new reveal in the Jeffrey Epstein saga and in the bipartisan quest to get all documents released and for victims to finally see some accountability. A lot of people are talking about this Epstein birthday book and the note allegedly from Donald Trump included in that book. But the one person who has not said anything about this reveal yet is President Trump himself, though those around him have continued to say that he did none of it. He was not part of the book, did not sign it. It's not the picture he drew. But even with this reveal, the White House is saying that it is not backing down with the legal action that it's taking against the Wall Street Journal around all of this, the paper owned by Rupert Murdoch, over its first reporting of the existence of the book, this note, and Trump's connection to it. Joining us right now, CNN senior legal analyst Elie Honig for much more on this. And a big question, what this legal action surrounds, which the president the White House says the president will continue to pursue even after this has come to light, is around defamation. What does this note, this image revealed, the House Oversight Committee putting out this report, how does it impact Trump's defamation claim now against the Wall Street Journal?
So I'm sure the president will continue to pursue his defamation case, but it just got a heck of a lot more difficult for him. Important to keep in mind here, Donald Trump is the plaintiff. He's the one who's asking the court to award him $10 billion. He's the one who bears the burden of proof. And what he has to prove is two things. One, that the Wall Street Journal reporting was false, and two, that the Wall Street Journal knew it was false or was reckless as to the falsity. Well, Donald Trump's lead claim, if you look back at his complaint, is that this letter did not exist. He says it was non-existent. Well, now we know it certainly exists. And not only do we know it exists, let's remember how we saw this letter. The House subpoenaed it from the Epstein estate. And that's exactly consistent with the Wall Street Journal's reporting that this letter was sent to Jeffrey Epstein, and it turns out it was exactly where one would expect it to be based on the Journal's reporting. So now Trump is left to sort of pick at the margins, but that's kind of tough when you bear the burden of proof, as Donald Trump does here.
And when you talk about picking at the margins, is that around it's not my signature, it is my signature? Because he's saying he didn't he didn't craft the letter, he did not sign it at the bottom. How do you legally sort this out?
Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to matter, Kate, because you have to look back at the Wall Street Journal's reporting. I promise you 1,000 lawyers looked at that article before it came out. And by the way, you can tell because the Journal is really careful in what they say. They do say the letter exists, but they don't say definitively, well, Donald Trump himself signed this or wrote the little poem or sent it himself with a postage stamp. They actually say in the Wall Street Journal article that the circumstances around the letter's creation are unclear. So I don't know how Donald Trump establishes that is false. It's not false. They are unclear. And B, that the Wall Street Journal somehow knew that there was falsity. So again, I think he's left with very little to work with here. And I think his lawsuit just took a major hit.
What's the next move then for the Wall Street Journal now that this has been, as you say, this book has been kind of revealed, this image released, the letter put out there, and as you say, seems consistent with what the reporting was?
So we've reached a key point in any defamation case, and that's where the defendant, the party that's being sued, moves to dismiss. The Wall Street Journal would have done that anyway, and now they have way more support for that. They're going to say to the judge, he can't make his base showing that he's required to make. He can't show falsity. We know this letter exists as we reported, and he can't point to another sentence in this reporting that was false and knowingly false. And that's a crucial moment, Kate, in any one of these cases, because if the motion to dismiss is granted, well, then case is over, defendant wins. But if not, then we get into discovery. Then the parties have to give each other documents. Then we get into under oath depositions. And that could mean, again, if this motion survives a motion to dismiss, then we're going to see depositions of Wall Street Journal personnel under oath. And certainly we will see depositions of Donald Trump. He's the plaintiff. He absolutely will be put under oath in his own case and examined by lawyers for Wall Street Journal if this motion survives the motion to dismiss, but I think that just got a lot less likely. I think it's much more likely now that the court throws out this lawsuit.
Yeah, if the case survives, as you point out, it sounds like it looks to be far more of a headache than if it is dismissed out of hand. All right, it's good to see you. Thank you so much, Elie.